November throughout history marks relationship beginnings, proving that love blooms year-round. Gay male celebrity couples whose November romance starts demonstrate that partnerships form during all seasons when authentic connection transcends timing, that Valentine's culture suggests concentrates in specific months, yet actual human relationships begin whenever two people meet, regardless of calendar that greeting card industry manufactured as romance schedule. These aren't publicity stunts. These are genuine partnerships that November meetings initiated, proving that love stories deserve celebration regardless of when they started. When heterosexual relationships beginnings receive automatic recognition without requiring proving legitimacy, that our community's partnerships face through constant scrutiny, demanding we justify existence rather than simply existing as people building lives together. From Elton John meeting David Furnish, November 1993, to historic couples whose autumn romance started decades changing both lives, to modern partnerships proving love transcends eras, to relationships demonstrating that November's shorter days and cooling weather create intimacy enabling connection, to couples whose anniversary commemorations honor November starts, these stories prove that romance knows no season. Number 3's 32-year partnership proves longevity. Number 1's relationship survived through AIDS crisis, demonstrating commitment transcending tragedy. Which November romance matters most? Subscribe because these love stories deserve celebration, and that honoring relationship beginnings challenges society, treating our partnerships as less legitimate than heterosexual romances automatically validated without equivalent scrutiny. Elton John and David Furnish, October 1993. Meeting, November relationship start. Elton John and David Furnish's relationship began November 1993. Meeting through mutual friends in October, with romance blossoming into November, demonstrating how friendship can evolve into partnership when initial connection deepens through continued interaction, that authentic compatibility enables sustaining across 32 years, proving that celebrity relationships can be as stable as any partnership when genuine respect and shared values form foundation. Their October 30th, 1993 dinner party meeting led to November dating, demonstrating rapid progression when connection is genuine. Elton later said David was very calm, very well-read, very intelligent, proving that attraction involves more than physical chemistry when intellectual compatibility and emotional maturity create sustainable partnerships that superficial connections can't replicate through lacking depth required for longevity. Here's what makes their November relationship start particularly significant for understanding how timing affects partnerships. The 1990s remained hostile era for gay visibility. Yet Elton's willingness pursuing relationship despite career concerns demonstrated prioritizing authentic living over continued closeting that earlier decades required, when even successful gay men believed that honesty would destroy everything they'd built through strategic hiding. The 2005 civil partnership, December 21st, first day UK allowed, demonstrated commitment. Their eagerness legalizing relationship immediately upon possibility proved that our community values formal recognition, challenging stereotypes claiming we're commitment-phobic when actually systematic discrimination prevented accessing marriage that heterosexual people took for granted as automatic right rather than privilege requiring decades of activism achieving. But their 2014 marriage upgrade, when UK legalized full marriage equality, demonstrated evolution. Converting civil partnership to marriage proved that semantics matter, showing that separate but equal isn't actually equal when different terminology reinforces second-class status that full marriage equality finally eliminated through recognizing that our partnerships deserve identical recognition. The two sons, Zachary born 2010, Elijah born 2013, via surrogacy, demonstrated family building. Their openness about parenting process educated audiences about how gay male couples become fathers, proving that family structure diversity doesn't determine child outcomes when love and resources matter more than parental gender composition that conservative rhetoric falsely claims predicts children's well-being. Elton's sobriety journey, 1990 forward, preceded meeting David, demonstrating how personal growth enables healthy relationships. His recovery proved that addressing issues matters for partnership sustainability, showing that authentic intimacy requires emotional availability, that active addiction prevents through requiring constant management that precludes genuine connection with partners deserving full presence. But here's where their November romance becomes important for discussing how celebrity relationships model possibilities. Their visibility demonstrated that gay partnerships can be stable, challenging stereotypes that only heterosexual relationships achieve longevity when actually discrimination, rather than orientation, determines relationship stability through systematic stress that marginalized couples navigate that privileged partnerships never experience. The $30 million Elton John AIDS Foundation work they do together demonstrates shared values. Their joint philanthropy proves that partnerships involve common purpose, showing that sustainable relationships require aligned priorities, enabling collaboration beyond simply cohabiting when authentic connection means working toward shared goals that individual efforts alone couldn't achieve through lacking combined resources. The 32-year partnership spanning AIDS crisis, marriage equality victory, and family building demonstrates resilience. Their sustained commitment proves that our relationships weather challenges, showing that love transcends the discrimination attempting to destroy our partnerships through systematic opposition, treating our commitments as threats requiring societal resistance rather than celebrations deserving equivalent support that heterosexual relationships automatically receive. Today, Elton John and David Furnish's November 1993 relationship start celebrates 32-year partnership, and their visibility demonstrated that gay relationships can be as stable as any partnership when genuine respect and shared values form foundation that authentic compatibility sustains across decades, proving our commitments deserve equivalent recognition. Drop a 1 if you think Elton and David's 32-year partnership proves gay relationships achieve longevity, and that November 1993 romance start demonstrates love transcends discrimination when genuine connection forms foundation that authentic compatibility sustains across decades, deserving equivalent recognition. Historical couples. November romance beginnings. Pre-2000 November throughout history witnessed gay male relationship beginnings. Pre-2000 couples whose autumn romance starts demonstrated that love persisted despite systematic discrimination when partnerships forming during hostile eras required courage that current generation sometimes doesn't fully appreciate, when marriage equality and increased visibility created safety that previous decades never experienced. The historical documentation remains limited, demonstrating how systematic erasure destroyed records when many relationships remained hidden, requiring secrecy that prevented public acknowledgement. This absence proves that representation isn't simply about celebrating current visibility, but recovering erased history that deliberate destruction attempted eliminating through treating our love stories as unworthy of preservation. Here's what makes historical November romances particularly significant for understanding how visibility evolved. These relationships formed when being openly together invited violence, proving that love transcends fear when genuine connection matters more than safety, that heterosexual relationships took for granted as automatic condition rather than privilege requiring constant risk assessment, that our community navigated through every public appearance, potentially inviting harassment or worse. The AIDS crisis, 1980s to 1990s, devastated relationships, demonstrating how governmental neglect destroyed partnerships when partners died, leaving survivors traumatized. These losses represent not just individual tragedies but systematic genocide that society enabled through refusing adequate response until epidemic had decimated creative communities that governmental homophobia treated as disposable populations whose deaths were acceptable rather than crises demanding emergency intervention. But the survivors' stories demonstrate resilience. Partners who lost loves to AIDS yet continued living prove that our community persists, showing that while trauma affects us profoundly, we survive through supporting each other when systematic opposition attempts destroying us through multiple mechanisms that policy decisions enable rather than accidents beyond human control. The November timing carries symbolic resonance, demonstrating how autumn's darkness mirrors our community's historical shadows. Relationships forming during fall months perhaps recognize that love provides light during dark times when partnership becomes sanctuary against hostile world that relationships create through mutual support, that isolation prevents when people navigate discrimination alone without partners sharing burden. The closeted partnerships that historical records hint at demonstrate adaptation. Many relationships remained secret, proving that people found ways loving each other despite systematic opposition when human need for connection transcends discrimination, attempting preventing partnership formation through making authentic relationships seem impossible or too dangerous for attempting. But here's where historical November romances become important for honoring erasure. We'll never know most stories, demonstrating that representation involves acknowledging absence when systematic destruction eliminated records that would have proven our relationships always existed despite society pretending we're recent phenomenon that modern tolerance created rather than ancient reality that historical oppression simply obscured through deliberate erasure. The anonymous relationships deserve commemoration, proving that every partnership matters regardless of whether fame preserved their stories. Unknown couples loving each other during hostile eras demonstrated same courage as famous partnerships, showing that ordinary people's love stories matter equally to celebrities when all authentic relationships deserve celebration regardless of whose relationships receive documentation, enabling future generations learning their histories. The lessons these relationships teach involve resilience, demonstrating that love persists despite opposition when human connection is fundamental need, that discrimination can't eliminate despite attempting to through systematic violence, making authentic living dangerous, yet people continue loving each other regardless because partnership provides meaning that isolation denies. Today, historical November romances honor pre-2000 couples whose relationship beginnings demonstrated that love persisted despite systematic discrimination, and that autumn romance starts during hostile eras required courage when partnerships forming then faced violence, that current visibility improvements created safety, making previous generations' risks difficult for fully appreciating their sacrifices. Drop a 2 if you think historical November romances honor pre-2000 couples demonstrating love persisted despite discrimination, and that autumn relationships forming during hostile eras required courage facing violence when current safety improvements make previous generations' risks difficult for fully appreciating their extraordinary bravery. November anniversary celebrations. Couples honoring romance starts. November 2025 celebrates couples honoring relationship anniversaries. Partnerships commemorating November meeting or dating starts, demonstrating that remembering beginnings matters when anniversary celebrations create rituals reinforcing commitment through annually acknowledging journey that relationships represent beyond simply cohabiting, when intentional commemoration strengthens bonds that daily routine's familiarity might otherwise diminish through making extraordinary become ordinary. The anniversary traditions couples create demonstrate relationship maintenance, proving that sustainable partnerships require ongoing effort when celebrating. Milestones shows intentionality that neglect would prevent through taking relationships for granted. These rituals, whether elaborate or simple, demonstrate that acknowledging partnership matters for sustaining connection that passive coexistence can't maintain. Here's what makes November anniversary celebrations particularly significant for understanding relationship maintenance. Annual commemorations provide progress markers, demonstrating how couples evaluate relationship health through reflecting on years' changes. These check-ins enable addressing issues before they become crises, proving that intentional relationship tending prevents problems that ignoring until emergency requires more dramatic intervention. The social media anniversary posts couples share provide public commitment affirmation, demonstrating how visibility reinforces dedication when announcing relationship milestones creates accountability that privacy doesn't generate through keeping commitment entirely private. Public declarations involve community witness, proving that relationships benefit from external recognition that isolation prevents when partnerships need social support surviving challenges. But the private celebrations matter equally, demonstrating that intimacy involves moments beyond public performance. Couples' personal rituals create meaning, proving that what matters is intentionality rather than publicity, when actually relationship health depends on partners' mutual investment, not others' validation that external recognition provides, though partnership satisfaction ultimately requires internal fulfillment. The November timing creates holiday context, demonstrating how anniversary celebrations layer onto seasonal festivities. relationships starting in November experience anniversaries during Thanksgiving season, proving that gratitude themes resonate when romantic partnership provides much to appreciate that isolation lacks through providing companionship that life's journey benefits from when navigated together rather than alone. The gift-giving traditions some couples maintain demonstrate appreciation expression, proving that material gestures can symbolize emotional commitment when thoughtful presents show attentiveness. These exchanges aren't purely commercial, showing that gifts selected with care demonstrate knowing partner well enough for choosing meaningful items that generic presents lack through requiring actual understanding. But here's where anniversary celebrations become important for discussing relationship visibility. Public commemorations normalize gay partnerships, demonstrating that our relationships deserve equivalent recognition when anniversary posts alongside heterosexual couples celebrations prove that partnerships are partnerships regardless of gender composition, that only discrimination treats as meaningful difference requiring separate acknowledgement rather than integrated celebration. The evolution in how couples celebrate demonstrates relationship changes, proving that anniversary traditions adapt across years. Early relationship anniversaries might involve elaborate romantic gestures, showing that established partnerships' different celebrations reflect maturity when comfortable intimacy replaces performative romance that relationship beginnings required for establishing connection that long-term partnership security no longer needs proving through dramatic gestures. The November weather creates cozy celebration contexts, demonstrating how season affects anniversary activities. Indoor intimate dinners replace summer outdoor adventures, proving that environment shapes how couples commemorate when shorter days and colder temperatures create different celebration opportunities that seasonal variation provides through influencing what activities feel appropriate for marking relationship milestones. Today, November 2025 anniversary celebrations honor couples commemorating relationship starts, and that remembering beginnings matters when annual rituals reinforce commitment through intentionally acknowledging journey that relationships represent beyond simply cohabiting, when commemoration strengthens bonds that daily routine's familiarity might diminish through making extraordinary ordinary. Drop a 4 if you think November anniversary celebrations prove remembering beginnings matters, and that annual rituals reinforce commitment when intentional commemoration strengthens bonds that daily routine's familiarity might diminish through making relationships' extraordinary nature feel ordinary without deliberate acknowledgement preventing taking partnership for granted. November romance symbolism. Why autumn love matters. November. Romance carries symbolic weight. Autumn love beginnings demonstrating that season affects partnership formation when environmental factors influence human behavior, creating contexts enabling connection that timing shapes through seasonal patterns affecting social interaction that relationship development depends upon for facilitating initial encounters and sustained engagement. The autumn darkness creates intimacy, demonstrating how shorter days foster connection when indoor activities during longer nights enable conversation that summer's outdoor focus prevents through different social patterns. This enforced proximity allows getting to know partners, proving that environment shapes relationship development through creating or limiting opportunities for interaction that partnership formation requires for progressing beyond initial attraction. Here's what makes November romance particularly significant for understanding seasonal relationship patterns. Fall represents transition, demonstrating how change creates openness when seasonal shifts perhaps mirror personal transformations that new relationships represent. The metaphorical resonance between autumn's transformation and relationship beginnings suggests why partnerships might form during periods when change already permeates environment, making additional life changes feel natural. The holiday context affects relationship acceleration, demonstrating how seasonal events create relationship milestones. Meeting in November means navigating Thanksgiving and Christmas early, proving that holidays force relationship definition when decisions about spending time together or meeting families require clarity about partnership status, that gradual development might delay addressing without holiday deadlines forcing conversations. But the colder weather creates different dating contexts, demonstrating how environment shapes romantic activities. November dates involve cozy indoor venues, proving that season affects what couples do together when temperature determines whether relationships develop through outdoor adventures or intimate indoor conversations that different settings facilitate varying depths of connection that activities enable. The November birthdays some people celebrate create anniversary complexity, demonstrating how relationship starts near personal milestones affect celebration patterns. Partners whose relationships began around birthdays experience layered commemorations, proving that timing affects how couples navigate multiple significant dates when calendar proximity creates logistical challenges that strategic planning must address. The autumn aesthetic provides romantic backdrop, demonstrating how environment affects mood when fall colors and crisp air create sensory contexts that memories associate with relationship beginnings. These environmental factors become part of love stories, proving that setting matters for how couples remember meeting when sensory details embed in memory, creating rich associations that relationship narratives incorporate. But here's where November romance symbolism becomes important for discussing how culture shapes relationships. Western tradition emphasizes spring as romance season, demonstrating that cultural narratives don't always match reality when actual relationship formation happens year-round, yet Valentine's Day positioning suggests love concentrates in specific periods that commercial interests manufactured rather than natural patterns determining when partnerships form. The November relationship statistics would reveal interesting patterns, demonstrating that data about when relationships form might show seasonal variations. While research about this remains limited, examining whether partnerships cluster in specific months could reveal environmental and social factors affecting when people seek connections, proving that human behavior involves patterns that studying would illuminate, though adequate research examining this question remains sparse. The personal meaning couples attach to November starts demonstrates individual interpretation, proving that symbolism involves what people make of timing rather than inherent meanings. Couples create their own narratives, showing that relationships involve storytelling where partners construct shared understanding of their journey. That November beginning becomes part of whether or not broader cultural symbolism exists. Today, November romance symbolism demonstrates that autumn love matters, and that seasonal context affects partnership formation when environmental factors influence social interaction, creating context enabling connection that timing shapes through patterns affecting how relationships develop from initial encounters through sustained commitment that November beginnings facilitate. Drop a 5 if you think November romance symbolism proves autumn love matters, and that seasonal context affects partnerships when environmental factors influence interaction. Creating contexts enabling connection that timing shapes through patterns affecting how relationships develop from initial encounters through sustained commitment. Modern gay couples' November relationship beginnings, 2010s partnerships demonstrating how dating evolved through apps and increased visibility when technology transformed how people meet, yet fundamental human desire for connection remained constant across eras that different tools enabled but didn't create when actual need for partnership transcends mechanisms facilitating initial contact. The dating app era changed everything, demonstrating how digital platforms enabled connections that geographic limitations previously prevented. Gay men in small towns could find partners, proving that technology democratized access when physical proximity no longer determined who could meet when apps transcended local gay bars that rural communities often lacked, making dating impossible without relocating to cities that traditional geographic concentration required. Here's what makes 2010's November romances particularly significant for understanding how context shapes relationships. These partnerships formed during marriage equality victories, proving that legal recognition affects how couples approach commitment when possibility of marriage changes relationship dynamics that prohibition created through making long-term planning impossible when systematic discrimination prevented accessing legal protections that sustainable partnerships often require for managing shared assets and lives. The social media documentation these relationships received demonstrates visibility evolution. Couples sharing romance publicly proved that representation normalized, showing that what previous generation hid became current generation's Instagram content when cultural shift enabled openness that earlier decades would have considered recklessly dangerous through inviting harassment that increased safety, made less threatening though not eliminated. But the November timing remained significant, demonstrating that autumn continues being romance season despite cultural changes. Shorter days and colder weather create indoor intimacy, proving that seasonal patterns affect human behavior when environmental factors influence social interaction. That partnership formation depends upon through creating contexts, enabling connection, that other seasons' different dynamics don't facilitate equivalent opportunities. The 2015 Obergefell decision impact showed in relationships, demonstrating how Supreme Court ruling changed what couples envisioned possible. Partnerships forming after marriage equality accessed legal recognition immediately, proving that systematic barriers removal enables relationship development that previous restrictions prevented through making commitment legally unrecognizable regardless of emotional depth when law refused acknowledging partnerships that couples nonetheless sustained despite governmental denial. The diversity among 2010's couples demonstrates progress, proving that representation expanded beyond white cisgender men. Interracial, age gap, and varied relationships gained visibility, showing that our community's diversity increasingly received recognition when expanded representation challenged homogeneous portrayals that earlier visibility limitations perpetuated through showing only narrow demographics, suggesting false uniformity. But here's where modern November romances become important for discussing how progress affects expectations. Current couples face different pressures, demonstrating that while external discrimination decreased, internal community standards increased when marriage possibility created relationship escalation expectations that previous eras' impossibility prevented through keeping commitment informal when legal recognition wasn't an option anyway. The mental health openness these relationships often feature demonstrates cultural evolution. Modern couples discuss therapy and emotional work, proving that relationship health conversations normalized when earlier generations' silence about psychological struggles reflected both stigma and inaccessibility. That current improved mental health resources and reduced shame enable addressing through treatment that previous eras systematically denied or made prohibitively expensive. The November app matches specifically show technology's impact, demonstrating how dating apps enable filtering connections. Geographic interest and demographic preferences allow targeted searching, proving that efficiency increased, though perhaps at cost of serendipity that chance meetings provided when actually finding compatible partners was harder, yet sometimes produced unexpected connections that algorithmic matching's intentionality prevents through optimization, eliminating chance. Today, 2010's November romances demonstrate how dating evolved through technology and marriage equality, and that modern partnerships face different contexts when apps enable connections that geography previously prevented, yet legal recognition created new expectations that prohibitions impossibility never generated through keeping commitment necessarily informal. Drop a 3 if you think 2010's November romances show dating evolution through technology, and that modern partnerships face different contexts when apps enable connections, yet marriage equality created expectations that previous prohibitions impossibility never generated through keeping commitment necessarily informal without legal options. 5 November relationship stories. 5 different proofs that love blooms year-round. Gay male celebrity couples whose autumn romance starts demonstrate that partnerships form during all seasons when authentic connection transcends timing. That cultural narratives suggest concentrates in specific months, yet actual relationships begin whenever two people meet. Elton and David's 32-year partnership. Historical couples' courage during hostile eras. Modern 2010s relationships navigating marriage equality. Anniversary celebrations honoring beginnings. November romance symbolism creating meaningful contexts. The beautiful truth? Our relationships deserve celebration regardless of when they started, proving that partnerships matter beyond timing when love stories merit recognition equivalent to heterosexual relationships, automatically validated without requiring proving legitimacy, that systematic scrutiny demands from our community through treating commitments as less real than straight partnerships, society assumes authentic without equivalent skepticism. Which November romance matters most? These stories demonstrate that relationship beginnings deserve honoring, and that commemorating partnership starts challenges narratives treating our love as inferior when actually authentic connection transcends sexuality, that only discrimination treats as meaningful difference, preventing recognizing universal human experiences that partnerships represent. Subscribe because November 2025 celebrates romance beginnings. And these couples prove that love stories deserve recognition when relationships form across all seasons, requiring acknowledgement that cultural Valentine's concentration obscures through suggesting romance clusters in specific months that commercial interests manufactured.